Hello everyone, my name is Mohammed Safdar and you are watching Code Gallery. We have started a new series based on .NET 8 web APIs, and today we are going to see how we can integrate Serilog with our web applications. So as you are already aware, with the .NET Core we have already a built-in logger which we can mostly see like iLogger interface, and it has some limitation like it can only log to the console but it is not able to log to the file. But we can extend the iLogger interface to use third-party providers like Serilog, Log4net, and Logger, and we can have extra mechanism like logging to file, logging to SQL, or any other data sources. But today we are going to see how we can integrate the Serilog. So before going to integrate that, why Serilog? So Serilogs has some advantages over their competitors. Like Serilogs provide the structured logging mechanism, as well as we have variety of the uh, sinks where we can put or dump our logs. Like in today's demo we are going to see two sinks like the console and file logging, but if you want you can store that detail into your SQL or any other databases. So without further delay, let's get started with the practical implementation of this. I have opened my Visual Studio 2022 Community Edition. If you want you can download on your machine, it's absolutely free. Let me just create new API project. I'm just giving the name Serilog demo here. Click on next. Basically we need to choose .NET 8 now, and let me just click on create. Visual Studio is now creating our new web API project now. So if we just open now, our web API project is already created. If we just go to the weather forecast controller, you will see we have already logger. I have just updated this our get API to log some information which is we are going to verify. So let me just run and we see how the default logging is working in a console. Then you can verify after implementing the Serilog. It may have a detailed structure logging there. So I have just run the project. If you see the logging information, it's the pretty basic one now, but still we can see those information are logged to the console. If I click on this try out execute button, you will see our custom message is already printed on the console. So this is a basic built-in logging mechanism provided by .NET Core, but now we are going to extend that behavior to use the Serilog. For that we need to install a couple of the packages. So if you see here, we require mostly 4 packages to be installed, like Serilog ASP.NET Core, which is a prerequisite package, and like sinks means there are different sources where we want to dump the data. So first we are going to see the console, then we are going to implement the file logging, and to read the configuration values we require one more NuGet packages called Serilog settings.configuration. All those packages needs to be installed on our Visual Studio. So let me just install them. Now we need to go to NuGet package manager, manage NuGet packages, just search for those NuGet. like Serilog ASP.NET Core. First one is installs, 3 more to go. Second package is Serilog Console. Second is also on the way, 2 more to go. The third one is sinks.file. You see here. And now we have the last Serilog settings.configuration. So we have installed all the required packages. Now we need to configure them. So before configuring it to use or extend the default logging mechanism, we need to have the settings to be defined inside our app.setting.json file. So if you see here, the basic structure, what we have to define inside this app.setting is something called, we have to define the Serilog. Then we have to define the using is nothing but where we have to configure which sinks we want to use. Like we have added 2 sync packages like console and file. We have to provide that in using block. Minimum log label for now I'm just putting like the information, and write to is something we have to specify where we want our logs to be written. So let's define those settings. So first package what we have installed is called sinks.console. So you can see here the same name like sinks.console needs to be added here. Yep. And again the second package what we have installed, let me just configure that later after seeing those console is working fine or not. And the second write to, now we have to specify where our log should be written. So like currently we want to write that into the console. We just need to pass the parameter like the console. So that's all with in terms of that's all we have we need to configure in terms of updating the console logger with the Serilog configuration. So we have updated the configuration. Now we need to update the builder. So basically you can see here now we need to add those behaviors like the Serilog inside the builder class. So before creating the application, for that we need to provide this configuration to be injected to the host builder. Here we are just reading from the configuration file, and basically there is syntax need to be followed while we are putting those keys like the Serilog. It will be understood by that package only. So now everything is set up. Let's save all. I'm just going to run the project now. So if you see here, if I just need to bring up, if you see the logging is already updated. Now we have the if you can just compare with the previous one, the default logger is having the basic information. Now we have the more detailed information, and the structure also if you compare with the last one is now properly structured, and it may have more detail compared to the last or the inbuilt logger. Let me just try to hit this API. Now again you can see we have this information inside the console log. So now we have properly extended the default console logger to use the Serilog. The only part is remaining is that we need to log this information into the file. So basically the idea here is that if we store this information into the file, there is some errors, we can just go to the log file and see what errors and what it's actually really helpful to solve some issues which we encounter during our implementation. So now we need to configure the file. So for that we have to configure, like I have mentioned, that we have to configure now use the file sync. Now we have the file sync, and again we need to define where to write. For example, the first argument is argument related to the first object, and write to is related to the console. Now the second object is related to writing to the sync file. So here we need to provide some information. So here we need to add where we want to store the details into the file. So I have put it the default location on my PC. It may be vary based on your system, and the rolling interval should be the device. So basically, if we run this project on daily basis, it may have the new file and the date appended to that. Let me save the setting, run the project. If I hit the same API, you will see that log our custom message is logged there. We just need to verify whether it's logged inside our file system or not. So let me open that path. You can see we have app log and the date stamp is today's date. If I open this, let me just stop the project. If I open this file into Notepad, you will see all the details are logging into the file system. Now we have all the log stored inside the file system, so you can validate those logs whenever you required, and if you face any bugs, you can validate that. Yeah. Okay, so we have completed this integration of the Serilog with the .NET Web API. Thanks for watching.